Should minors be able to get birth control without parents' consent? By Kayla McPeck. 3 in 10 American girls will get pregnant at least once by the age of 20. That's nearly 7,500,000 teen pregnancies each year, according to DoSomething.org. I have watched firsthand what teenage pregnancy can do to my peers who have gotten pregnant, and I am also a part of a generational cycle of teenage mothers, and I've watched where their lives could have gone to where they are now. Teenagers having the choice of getting birth control puts them more in a position. Teenagers having the choice of getting birth control puts more of them in a position and equal opportunity to become college students like us. I have 3 reasons on why you should listen to why teenagers should be able to purchase birth control without their parents' consent. First of all, it decreases the teen pregnancy rate, safer for all teenagers having sex, and the challenges for teens having a child is a lot worse than using contraceptives. Giving teens more access to birth control, it will help decrease the teen pregnancy rate. According to the ACLU, it will just drive them away from the services they need to protect themselves, leading to higher rates of unintended pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases. Even though teen culture, sex is normalized, but to most parents, sex is a taboo that they do not allow. 68% of teens agree with this statement. The primary reason why they don't use birth control or protection is because they are afraid of what their parents will find out and what they'll say. Parents are starting to become more understanding as a new generation of parents begins to arise, but they are still continuing to see sex as a taboo. We all have secrets we keep from our parents in order to protect ourselves from their opinions and reactions. Birth control is a secret most teens keep from their parents due to fear and not wanting to deal with consequences of their parents' reactions or judgments. After hearing from the ACLU, we have learned that making teens ask parents for permission or birth control leads to higher rates of pregnancies and STDs because due to fear and judgment. Forcing teens to talk to their parents violates their public health rights. It makes it more likely for them to sneak around and have sex, which causes them to be less safe. Having access to birth control with parents' consent makes it safer for all teens. Many parents don't talk about birth control with their parents because they're uncomfortable discussing it with their kids, says CNN. This causes most teens to hide the fact that they need birth control and STD screening, which creates more health problems for the teenagers and their partners along the way. They do not have all the facts on how to protect themselves, yet they're bombarded with media messages telling them just do it, says Foster, from a quote coming from Encouraging Teen Abstinence, should birth control information be a taboo. Nobody wants to talk to teens about having sex. Governments not wanting to deal with it, just signing away contracts, programs for abstinence programs, which are basically the easy way out. Parents avoid the whole conversation so they don't have to feel uncomfortable with their kids. They're just leaving their curiosity up to the media, who are encouraging them but not teaching them anything about the topic. My counter argument is in 1995, in December, Republican Governor Pete Wilson scraped a much-hearded program saying we need a much more comprehensive strategy to deal with the out-of-wedlock pregnancy. A quote from Should Birth Control Information Be Taboo? Politicians would like to take especially Republican politicians, would like to take away teen rights to ask for birth control without a parent's consent. When they do this, they are violating the rights of the teens to choose to have access to health care without the fear of their parents. But in their defense, they believe that having these abstinence programs and throwing all this money into them will slow down the rate of teen pregnancies. These programs were designed to slow down the out-of-wedlock rate and keep teens from having sex as long as possible. Here from Conscious Paper, encouraging teen abstinence, should birth control information be taboo? We come to realize that teens having access to abstinence groups, but they do not solve any problems. Conversations with parents solve problems, and having that open and honest connection without that, teens turn to the media, which sends a message that sex is okay to do without teaching kids about it. Instead of forcing these conversations without parents, giving them the access to contraceptives keeps everybody comfortable and safe. The challenges of teens having a child is a lot worse than contraceptives. Teenage pregnancy is a major social concern. Says Spear from Having a Baby Won't Affect Me That Much. To date, most of the research on teenage pregnancies has focused on incidence and prevalence rates, and factors that increase the risk of becoming a parent, such as family structures and functions, socioeconomic status, parent-child communication, says Spear. Throughout the years, not only has teen pregnancy been a taboo, but so has teenage sex. Society refuses to come to terms that teenage sex is normalized, and that in order to prevent it, parents have to get more comfortable to talking to their kids about sex. The only way for teenagers to make informed decisions is for them to know all the risks that come with having sex at a young age and knowing all of their options for preventing pregnancy if they choose to have sex. Most causes of teen pregnancy is parent-child communication. They have bad communication skills with their parents or bad relationships with them. Those problems can lead kids to act out or rebel and can cause teenage pregnancy. Instead of being able to understand and talk about their sexuality, they try to figure it out themselves and not safely, which can result in pregnancies. In Spear's teenage pregnancy, having a baby won't affect me that much. We learned that teenage pregnancies causes more damages to teens than they think emotionally and financially. We also learned that teenage pregnancies are caused by the lack of communication between a child and parent. So far, I have talked to you about the negative effects of parenting not having these conversations with their teenagers about sex, resulting in why they should be able to purchase birth control without a parent's consent. I have spoken on 3 reasons on why teenagers should be able to purchase birth control without parents' consent. My main points I have discussed have been, after hearing from the ACLU, we learned that making teens ask parents for permission, birth control leads to higher pregnancies and STD rates. Hearing from Conscious Paper, we come to realize that teens having access to abstinence group, but those don't solve problems that they have with their parents about having that open and honest connection. And in Spear's paper, we learned that most teenage pregnancies cause more damage to teens than they think emotionally and financially. My call to action is insisting that politicians break abstinence programs and they back sex programs, giving teenagers the right to choose their fate. These programs will help teenagers practice safe sex, and when they are ready, to educate them about the pregnancies and STDs. My other call to action is to normalize teenage pregnancy and making informed decisions. Every choice you make will help decide your fate. Due to the safe sex decisions you did or did not make, you end up here, able to pursue your future and your dreams. Most teens who are having sex aren't as lucky and weren't able to make it to college because of them raising a child. Your free will on almost every decision you make. Should safe sex be one of them?